I sacrificed my future for my brother, but he called me a burden until the truth came out. For 12 years, I let him believe he saved himself. Then he tried to sell our mother's house, and I showed everyone the receipt that proved who really paid the price. My name is Avery. I am 32, and most people called me the responsible one. That sounds like a compliment until you realize what it really means. It means everyone trusts you to carry the heavy things. It means nobody asks whether your hands are bleeding. My younger brother, Liam, never had that problem. Liam was the bright one, the charming one. The one who could forget a birthday, miss a bill, break a promise, and still make everyone laugh by the end of dinner. He was 5 years younger than me, and after our father died, my mother looked at him like he was the last good thing life had left her. We lived in a small blue house in Raleigh, North Carolina. The porch leaned, the bathroom tiles never matched, and the kitchen smelled like cinnamon because my mother baked when she was nervous. I was 20 when Dad died. A drunk driver crossed the center line on a rainy Thursday night. Dad never made it past exit 289. Liam was 15. My mother, Nora, kept working at the library and cooking dinner, but something in her went quiet, so I became loud where she became quiet. Not loud with words, loud with action. I made sure Liam had lunch money. I checked his grades. I drove him to basketball practice. I sat in parent meetings when Mom could not stop crying in the parking lot. That year, I received an acceptance letter from a nursing program in Charlotte. New city, dorm room, a life that belonged to me. I never went. Mom's hours were cut at the library, the mortgage was behind, and Liam needed stability. That was the word everyone used, stability. So I stayed. I told myself nursing school could wait 1 year. 1 year became 12. I got a job at a medical billing office in Durham and worked weekends at a grocery store. I was tired all the time, but the bills got paid. Liam graduated high school because I dragged him through the last semester. He got accepted into a business program in Chapel Hill because I filled out most of the forms while he played video games on the couch. The first tuition payment was due in August. Mom stared at the bill like it was written in another language. "I don't know what to do," she whispered. Liam said nothing. He just looked scared. I looked at him, then at Mom, then at the envelope from Charlotte still tucked inside my desk drawer. And I made the kind of choice people praise later when they do not have to live with it. I used the money Dad had left for me, enough to pay Liam's first year, enough to keep the house safe, enough to make sure my own door closed quietly. Liam never knew. Mom knew. She cried when I signed the transfer. "Avery, this was for your future." I said, "He has one too," she said. "What about yours?" I smiled. "I'll figure it out." That became my whole life. I'll figure it out. When Liam needed books, I figured it out. When his car broke down, I figured it out. When Mom's medicine went up and the roof leaked, I took out a loan in my name and figured it out. Liam did well after college. That was the hard part. If he had failed, maybe people would have understood my anger. But he did not fail. He became successful. He got a job in Charlotte at a marketing firm. Then a better one. Then he started wearing expensive watches and asking if I still worked that billing job. That billing job had paid for his books. That billing job had kept his lights on. That billing job had quietly saved him more times than he could count. But he did not know because I never told him. Maybe that was my mistake. Sacrifice given in silence can become invisible. 5 years after Liam graduated, Mom got sick. At first, it was small things. Forgetting appointments, leaving the stove on. Repeating the same question. Then came the diagnosis. Early dementia. Liam drove in for the appointment wearing a navy suit and checked his phone twice while the doctor explained what would happen. Afterward, in the parking lot, he said, "We should look into care options." I said, "She wants to stay home." He sighed. "Avery, you always make everything emotional." I stared at him. "Our mother is losing her memory. That is emotional." So I became Mom's caregiver. Of course I did. I worked remotely when I could, took calls from the hallway. Set alarms for her medicine. labeled cabinets, slept lightly because sometimes she wandered at night. Liam visited when it was convenient, birthdays, Christmas. Sometimes Mother's Day if his girlfriend, Emily, reminded him. He brought gifts that looked expensive and required no time. Then he would kiss her forehead, call me tense, and leave before dinner dishes. The worst fight happened on a Sunday. Mom had declined fast that winter. The house needed repairs. The caregiver cost more than my car payment. I had maxed out one credit card and emptied my small savings account. Liam arrived with Emily for lunch. Emily was polite, pretty, and careful around our family drama. She saw more than she said. Mom was having a bad day. She kept calling Liam by Dad's name, then crying. After lunch, Liam pulled me into the hallway. "This house is becoming a problem," he said. I folded my arms. "The house is Mom's home." "It's an asset," he said, "and it's falling apart." I laughed once because if I did not, I would have screamed. "An asset. She raised us here." He lowered his voice. "You need to stop being sentimental. We could sell it, put Mom somewhere professional, and split whatever is left." Split. That word landed like a slap. I said, "Whatever is left after what?" "After her care," he said. "After debts, repairs, whatever." "I mean you live here too, Avery. You've benefited." I stared at him. Benefited. I had paid the mortgage gaps, paid for repairs, paid for Mom's care, paid for him. And he was standing in the hallway calling my sacrifice a benefit. Then he said the sentence that changed everything. "Honestly, sometimes it feels like you're using Mom as an excuse because you never built your own life." For a second, I went completely still. No heat, no tears, just still. Emily whispered, "Liam." He looked annoyed. "What?" "Somebody has to say it." I nodded slowly. "You're right," I said. He blinked. "I do need to stop making excuses." That night after Liam and Emily left, I went to the attic. There were boxes near the old Christmas decorations, Dad's tax records, Mom's medical files, my school papers, receipts, folders, envelopes. I pulled them down one by one. The tuition transfer, the roof loan, the mortgage payments, the caregiver invoices, the pharmacy receipts, the canceled nursing school enrollment, every piece of my life that had disappeared into theirs. I spread it all across the dining table. Mom walked in wearing her robe. For a moment she looked clear, more herself than she had in months. She touched the tuition receipt with Liam's college name on it. "Oh, Avery," she whispered. I said, "I think I'm done being quiet." She sat across from me and began to cry. 3 days later, Liam sent a group text to me and Emily. "I talked to a realtor. We should move fast before the market cools." I replied, "Not without a family meeting." He sent back, "Finally." He thought he was winning. The meeting happened that Saturday. Liam arrived with Emily and a folder of house estimates. He looked prepared, confident, almost bored. I had my own folder. Mine was thicker. We sat in the kitchen. Mom sat beside me. She was tired but present. Liam started first. "I know this is difficult," he said, using his work voice, "but we need to be realistic. Mom needs full-time care. The house is too much. Selling is the logical solution." I said, "Maybe." He looked surprised. "So you agree?" "I agree we need to talk numbers." He smiled a little. "Good." I opened my folder. "Let's start with college." His smile faded. I slid the first paper across the table. "Your first year at Chapel Hill. $12,800. Paid from Dad's account, my portion." He frowned. "What is this?" "A receipt." I slid another paper. "Books and housing deposit, $3,400. Another. "Car repair sophomore year, $1,100. Another. "Emergency rent when your summer internship did not pay enough, $900. Liam's face changed from confusion to irritation. "Avery, what are you doing?" "Talking numbers." Emily picked up one of the papers. Her eyes moved across the page. She looked at Liam. "You told me you had scholarships." He shifted. "I did," I said, "partial scholarships. The rest came from here." I tapped the folder. "From Mom, from Dad, from me." Mom started crying quietly. Liam looked at her. "Mom, did you know about this?" She wiped her face. "I knew, I hated it, but your sister said you deserved a chance." He sat back. The room went silent except for the refrigerator humming. I kept going. The roof repair after the storm. I took out a loan because Mom couldn't qualify. $7,600. I slid the document. The mortgage gaps after Dad died. I paid whenever Mom was short. Another stack. Caregiver invoices for the last 2 years. I paid 60%. Mom paid what she could. You paid nothing. His jaw tightened. I didn't know you needed help. I looked at him. You didn't ask. That hit harder than yelling would have. He looked away. But I was not finished. You called this house an asset. You said I benefited, so let's be clear. This house is not your payday. It is Mom's home. And if it gets sold, every legal dollar goes to her care first, not your kitchen remodel, not your investment account. Not my comfort either, hers. Liam stood up. This is insane. You kept all this for years just to throw it in my face. I stood too. No, I kept it because I thought love meant never making you feel guilty. My voice shook for the first time. But you stood in that hallway and called me a burden, so now you get the truth. Emily put the paper down slowly. Liam, she said, you need to apologize. He snapped, stay out of it. She flinched. I saw it. He grabbed his folder. I'm not doing this, I said, then don't. But you are not selling this house behind Mom's back. He left. Emily stayed. For 3 seconds, she just sat there. Then she looked at me and said, I'm sorry. It was the first apology anyone had given me in years. Update 1. 4 days later, Liam started the campaign. He called our Aunt Paula, then our cousin Jordan, then one of Mom's old church friends, Riley. By Wednesday, my phone was full of messages. Liam says you're refusing to get Nora proper care. Liam says you're controlling the house. Liam says you embarrassed him in front of Emily. I answered each one with the same sentence. Ask Liam who paid for college. Most people stopped replying. Aunt Paula did not. She called sharply, saying Liam was worried, so I sent her the documents. 10 minutes later, she called back with a broken voice. I had no idea, she said. Nobody did. Then she said, your father would be proud of you, but he would also be angry that you had to do all this alone. That broke me. I cried with the phone against my ear while Aunt Paula stayed silent, not fixing it. Just staying. 2 weeks later, Liam came back, not to apologize, to threaten. He said he had spoken to a lawyer. He said I had manipulated Mom and financially abused the situation. I almost laughed. Instead, I handed him a business card, my lawyer. He stared at it. I said, I spoke to one too. His confidence cracked. The lawyer's name was Grant, calm voice, gray hair. No patience for family nonsense. Grant had reviewed everything. The house was in Mom's name. Her medical directive named me as primary decision maker. Liam could object, but he could not force a sale. When I told Liam that, he looked betrayed, as if the law had personally insulted him. You always have to win, he said. I shook my head. No, I always had to handle things while you got to be loved without responsibility. He did not reply. That was the first time I saw shame reach him, not enough to change him, but enough to make him quiet. Update 2. A month later, Mom had a fall, nothing dramatic. She slipped near the bathroom and bruised her hip, but it scared all of us. Even Liam. At the hospital, he arrived before midnight, hair messy, shirt inside out. For once, he looked like my little brother again. He saw Mom sleeping, small under the white blanket. Then he looked at me. How long have you been doing nights like this? I was too tired to protect him from the answer. Years. He sat down, his eyes were red. I thought you liked being in control. I stared at him. I liked keeping everyone alive. He covered his face. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then he whispered, I told people I paid my own way because I wanted to believe it. I nodded. I know. I was embarrassed, he said. You were always there, always fixing things. It made me feel small. I looked at Mom. She was small too. Dad died. She broke. I did what I had to do. I know, he said. No, I said softly. You're learning. That night, Liam did something I never expected. He stayed, not for an hour, not for a photo. He stayed until morning. He helped me speak to the nurse. He brought me coffee. Bad coffee, but still. When Mom woke up confused, he held her hand and said, "It's Liam, Mom, I'm here." She smiled. For one clear second, she knew him. "My boy," she whispered. He cried like a child. Final update. 3 months later, we did sell the house, but not the way Liam wanted. Mom's care needs became too serious. We found a memory care home in Cary with a garden, kind nurses, and a piano. Mom loved music even when words became hard. The house sold for more than expected. Every dollar went into a trust for Mom's care. Grant handled it. Clean, legal, protected. Liam transferred $30,000 from his savings and sent me proof, not a speech. I respected that more. He also gave me an envelope. Inside was a check for $12,800, the exact amount of his first tuition payment. I looked at it for a long time. "I can't take this," I said. He shook his head. "You can, and you will. It's not enough. It's just the first brick." The first brick. That was the most honest thing he had ever said. Emily eventually left him, not because of me, not because of the folder. Because once she saw how easily Liam rewrote the truth, she started noticing other things. He called me one night after she moved out. "I lost her," he said. "I'm sorry." He breathed hard. "I think I became the kind of man who accepts sacrifice and calls it love." He paused. "I don't want to be that anymore." For the first time, I believed him, not magically, but enough. As for me, I applied to nursing school again, at 32. With tired eyes, a messy history, and a bank account that had seen better days. I got accepted in Raleigh. The first person I told was Mom. She was sitting in the garden holding a yellow blanket on her lap. I knelt beside her. "Mom, I got into nursing school." She looked at me for a long moment. Some days she did not know my name. That day she did. "Avery," she whispered. "Yes, my brave girl." I cried into her lap like I was 20 again. Liam helped pay for my first semester. I let him. That was hard because receiving feels strange after years of giving, but sacrifice should not become a prison. Love should not require one person to disappear so everyone else can grow. I visit Mom 3 times a week. Liam visits every Sunday. Sometimes he brings flowers. Sometimes he reads old cookbooks because she likes the sound of recipes. We are not perfect. There are still old wounds, still awkward silences, still moments when I remember the hallway and the word burden. But now, when Liam says thank you, he says it like he knows what it cost, and I am building a life that belongs to me, slowly, carefully. One class. One shift. One breath. One brick at a time. If you sacrificed for someone who forgot what you gave, hear this. Your love was real even if they did not recognize it. Your sacrifice mattered even if nobody clapped, but you are allowed to stop disappearing. You are allowed to tell the truth. You are allowed to build a future after protecting someone else's, because love without gratitude becomes entitlement, and sacrifice without boundaries buries your own dreams. I loved my brother enough to give him a future. But I finally loved myself enough to claim mine. If this story touched your heart, comment below whether you've ever sacrificed for family and felt unseen. Like, share, and subscribe for more emotional stories about love, sacrifice, truth, and second chances.